Hello, my name is Brian Grenier. I chose to interview a man named Robert Cloud North Sr. He is the Director of Operations for the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Currently, he oversees 4 separate clubs on 4 different reservations. He oversees 26 staff, and he has been in this position for the past 11 years. The purpose of the interview was to ask Mr. North questions relevant to course concepts and to see if I can tie in his real-life experience with what I've learned throughout the whole entire semester. The purpose of this presentation is to go over relevant course concepts and to tie them in to what Mr. North said and provide you with direct quotes as to what he thinks is the best way to lead an organization, as well as his theories and thoughts on how best to operate an organization. The first skill that I went over with Mr. North, or that was come to light because of our interview, was conceptual skills. This is on slide 3. The first question related to expansion and growth. I asked Mr. North how he got to the position he was in today. He spoke of expansion and growth, so I follow up with a question regarding skill set and vision. Now, he clearly stated that most important thing is to have had a vision of what the clubs could be. This is a conceptual skill, and this became clear at this point as he was able to recognize that it took a serious vision to move forward with the Boys and Girls Club and to take that vision and expand it. And this is also evidenced by his ability to work with ideas and to create a vision. The next slide is conceptual skills continued. His conceptual skills are further evidenced by his ability to be comfortable talking about the ideas that shape the Boys and Girls Club and then putting those ideas into words. This is from Nordhaus, 2013. Further, this is evidenced by his ability to exemplify the vision to the managers so that they may be continuously developed. His ability to express economic principles is another reason why he has conceptual skills. He states that if we lose sight of our key customers, the stakeholders, then we have lost the farm. Stakeholders is an economic principle that was applied to Boys and Girls Clubs, and he recognized that that economic principle affects the operations greatly. Moving on to contingency theory. I asked Mr. North what he felt effective leadership was. He said that effective leadership is getting things done through other people. I followed up with a question regarding his ability to adapt to the setting he's in, or if the setting needed to adapt to what he had to bring to the table. He said to a degree, an effective leader needs to adapt to the setting that they are in. This is related to the contingency theory. He also stated that he needs to empower and encourage staff. He wants to make them feel confident, comfortable, and important. These 3 things are very important to Mr. North. And moving on with the contingency theory, the first thing that comes to mind is he's a relationship-motivated leader. He is concerned with the interpersonal relationship with the staff because he is concerned with empowering them and making them feel confident, comfortable, and important. Second is the task structure. He ensures directives are very clear. He makes sure that anything asked of his managers, he follows up in writing so that they fully understand the question. He also stated that he could not entrust an employee or a manager to do a task if he himself did not instruct them clearly as far as the directive given. Third is his strong position power. Now, this is inherent of his position because he is the director of operations for the organization. So he has the power to hire, to fire, to promote, to reward, etc. So these 3 things creates leadership situations that are most favorable. His relationship motivation with his staff, making them feel confident, comfortable, and important in communicating with them. His task structure and clear directives. His strong position power and ability to be strong and assertive in his position as director. All create situations where he's able to have a favorable operation and organization. Going on to the leader-member exchange theory, or LMX. I asked Mr. North how important communication was between him and his followers or his managers. He stated that it was very important. It's most concentrated in the first 6 to 9 months of operations, or the first 6 to 9 months of when that manager comes on board and starts working for the organization. LMX concentrates heavily on interactions. He states that the key is for them to learn to make decisions on their own. So I'm thinking that he's ready to create leaders in his communications and his ability to concentrate his communication within that first 6 to 9 months so that he can create leaders. Research suggests that LMX can be used for doing so. North equips managers and provides resources to them so that he can elicit independent, confident leaders. He facilitates this process most importantly through frequent communication. So North is very invested in creating leaders throughout communication and concentrating that communication within the first 6 to 9 months because he feels that that's the most important time frame and time window of management. Moving on to the full range leadership model. I asked a very directed question based on the best type of leadership he felt. He said that the best type of leadership focuses on personal development of subordinates. He also states that the best case scenario creates a type of discipleship program where managers can learn from him. He places high importance on follower development and places high importance on being able to lead by example and having managers learn from him and the way he operates. This moves into transformational leadership. In the full range leadership model continued, Mr. North is a very strong role model. He often states he likes to lead by example, and also stated in the previous slide that he likes to create a situation where discipleship is being used. This is idealized influence. Secondly, he provides a vision and encourages managers to adopt and further that vision. This is inspirational motivation. He wants them to further that vision themselves. Third, he noted innovation is very important. He challenges managers to be independent and to think for themselves and have decisions that are their own. This is intellectual stimulation. Fourth, he's sensitive, and most importantly, he noted the importance of him to be able to listen effectively to his staff and to his managers. This is a supportive climate. This is individualized consideration. These 4 I's is what makes North a transformational type of leader. And moving from transformational leadership is authentic leadership on slide 10. This topic is perhaps the most important throughout this whole entire presentation and throughout the whole entire interview. I perhaps received the most insight on authentic leadership in the real world from Mr. North's interview and his responses to certain questions that I asked. I asked him if it was important to examine his own style before leading an organization. He stated that it was extremely important to examine one's own style and behavior because we create everything that's right in front of us. Personality and expectations are transparent. They know who he is. His relational transparency is a central and key component to authentic leadership. Them knowing who he is creates a situation where they can operate on their own because they know his expectations, they know his personality, they know his way of doing things. So they feel confident and comfortable moving forward because they know what is expected of them. This is transparency through Mr. North. North places a high importance on his overall integrity. Ethical and moral perspectives and an organizational climate characterized by integrity is very central as well to authentic leadership. This just further supports North's type of leadership as being authentic. Continuing with authentic leadership is follower development on slide 11. Follower development, Robert North states, discipleship and leading by example are 2 key things in his follower development. He places high importance on developing his managers. Follower development is central to the theory of authentic leadership. Research further suggests that a leader invested in follower outcomes places positive effects on a follower's PSYCAP. Now, a PSYCAP involves 4 different things. It is self-efficacy, which is the ability to have self-worth. It is optimism, which is their outlook and ability to think they can get things done. It is hope, which also means their willingness to hope to succeed, and their resilience, which means their ability to get through hard tasks and handle adversity well. Also on slide 12, you'll see authentic leadership continued. So what happens next? What happens when a follower's PSYCAP is developed and it's a positive work climate? Well, that's exactly what is happening. And it's furthered and reinforced when the followers are adopting the organizational values. North, in support of this statement, North ensures that this vision is adopted by communicating with administrative staff on a consistent basis. He ensures that his organizational values and his vision is reinforced because he communicates with the administrative staff very regularly. Authentic leaders foster a communicative environment, and that influences the overall positive organizational work climate. In conclusion, we went over several different course-relevant concepts. The first is conceptual skills from the skills approach, contingency theory, the LMX leader-member exchange theory, the full-range leadership model, and probably most importantly was authentic leadership. I learned that these concepts can be applied to everyday life, and I learned from Mr. North and his experiences that in moving forward, I'm able to apply what I learned to what he had to say because I could see his real life scenario and his situations play out, and I can have real life examples in relation to the course concepts that I've learned throughout the semester. It's one thing to read something on paper, but it's another thing to be able to hear first account from someone who's experienced it and somebody who practices it in their everyday life. Going forward, I'm able to sharpen my leadership and use what he had to tell me and what I'm going to learn moving forward, how to be a better leader. I hope that I've been very informative for you today. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.